So today I'm going to talk about how happiness doesn't exist. That's right, I didn't clickbait my titles. I would never clickbait my titles. I mean, this is also like my second or third video that I've done ever on this channel. Right, so I wanted to talk about how the way, at least that I've always been told and how I've understood how we're supposed to be happy isn't really how our biology works. Am I saying this because I am cynical and a negative person in general? Maybe. But I also feel a little annoyed when I'm trying to shoot for some kind of goal that doesn't even exist. Okay, listen. I understand. I've come to YouTube for a nice little oasis, a nice little break. Maybe you have a job, maybe you're in school, and you just want to kick back for a couple of minutes. And just have a nice relaxing time where you don't have to have your brain on. So anyway, let me show you some graphs. So I think when I think about my happiness levels over time, I tend to think about things as like the roller coaster of life. You know, sometimes you're in a good period and you're happy, and then something happens and then you're in a low period, and it kind of keeps going up and down forever. I think what I've been told is that what I should be aiming for looks a little bit more like this. So happy all the time, and then like sometimes you get little blips of, you know, something tragic happening, and then you just go straight back to happy all the time. Now, I don't know about you, but that's not what happens to me. And I think I've spent such a long time aiming for that, not hitting that, and then getting even more down on myself because like I'm not a naturally happy person always, no matter what. You know, I don't even like necessarily wake up happy. I often have to kind of think about it. I know, it's depressing to be me. I understand. But here's the thing, here's the truth, if you will. I think most of the time, you're not really feeling happy or sad. I think that things look much more like this. I'm not pointing because I haven't figured out yet where on the screen this is going to be, but I think this is a much more accurate model of like what your happiness looks like over time. I think you stay at some kind of baseline, and then good things or bad things happen and you return to that state. There's actually a term for this. I don't have any original thoughts in my brain. This exists. It is called, hold on, let me pull it up. It is called the hedonic treadmill. There's a Wikipedia article about it, so you know it's true. And basically what they're saying is that hedonic treadmill, also known as hedonic adaptation, is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. I think I heard about this study where they interviewed people who were being sent to prison, like right before they went and then a year afterwards, and then also people who had won the lottery. Again, I've only heard about this looking at, I can look it up, but you know, I'm not a researcher, please don't take my word for anything. Thank you. So when they interviewed these people, obviously when you're about to go to jail, pretty sad. But the interesting thing was that after a year, they were pretty much just as happy before they were sent to prison as they were a year after. And then similarly, the exact same thing happened with people who had won the lottery. You know, they say money can't buy happiness, and you hear about how there's certain income levels or your happiness doesn't increase. Once you get more money than that, you won't necessarily be happier. So anyway, I've been spending all this time kind of beating myself up for trying to achieve something that I don't think it's possible. Trying to achieve something that I don't think it's possible to achieve. And that's just depressing. If you think about it, I think it doesn't even make a lot of sense for you to be permanently happy all the time anyway. I think even emotions like happiness or joy, they take a lot of energy, and you want to be, I think the human body naturally tries to conserve energy wherever possible. So I think flooding it with these good hormones like dopamine and stuff, I think it would probably just tire you out and then make it difficult for when you did need to expend effort. So anyway, why am I saying this? Am I saying this because I don't think you should ever change anything about your life ever? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Although if you don't want to change your life, then don't change your life. You know, I'm not going to judge you. But I do want to say, going back to the nice little graph I made previously, I think there are a couple of things that we can do. If this is the model that we should just assume that we're at, then I think that there are a couple of things that we can do to improve our lives. The first one is that I think that we can do something about when these dips happen to get ourselves back to baseline, relatively quickly. I think people call that resilience, like emotional resilience. I do not think it is grit. I will talk in another video about my hatred for the word grit and how I think it's just a completely nonsense notion meant to keep us down. But that's not what we're talking about today. So today I just wanted to talk about how I think we can increase our resilience so that we can kind of get ourselves back to baseline quicker than we would otherwise. And then the second thing I think we can do is to basically move your neutral state to being like a generally cheery neutral state, as opposed to a neutral or like neutral sad state. I think I've been living a long time in a sort of neutral sad space. And I've some days I just feel like I'm trudging through life as opposed to like living life. I'm just kind of there. And I don't always want to be like wherever I am. And I think that's the area that could be improved. Not that I can be happy all the time. My general aim is like, you could walk down the street, right, just like a normal person, or you can kind of slouch down the street, or you can kind of like bop, like there's music either playing or just in your head, and you can kind of like groove down the street a little bit. Does that make sense? I'd like to be a groover and not a sloucher. Honestly, even just walking normally would be a nice improvement. So that's kind of what I'm going for. I'd like to be a nice wholesome human, just chilling out. Everybody loves her because she's so like cheery. Will I ever get there? It's unclear. I'm not really that extroverted and I'm not really that bouncy. I'm pretty like whatever not bouncy is. What's not bouncy? Like what's not bouncy? like a beanbag. Beanbags aren't fancy. You throw them down and there's just like ploof, there. That's what I am. I'm a beanbag. I need to come up with some better metaphors. So anyway, in terms of how to change this, I think I will save that for another video. I don't know how long this has run on now. But there are models about like what your happiness level is based on, and that's like a whole nother thing. The takeaway that I just want to take from this video is to not be so hard on yourself. I think that there's a unique heartbreak to trying to get yourself to live up to expectations that don't exist. The classic thing is just seeing on social media how everyone has terrific lives, and meanwhile you're sat at your office or whatever just being like, everything about my life is lame. So I think pushing some standard that's like not only very high but literally unattainable, because that's not how the body works. I think that that's just a recipe for disaster, and I don't think you can make any progress that way. And so I think if you can be a bit more realistic, or at least understand how things work, you can try for things that do work. And when you try at things and succeed in things, you feel good about yourself. And that's the goal, is to feel good about yourself. I guess you would call me a self-help channel. I am helping you, helping yourself. Yeah. Obviously I don't have the like self-help guru image down, because I am basically at like the beginning of the like shedding negativity, like weight loss journey, like I talked about in my last video. I think I'm rambling now. So the point is, don't be so hard on yourself. Set your goals to be realistic, and just crush them. I don't know. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Stay updated for more videos like this where you can feel good.